Once upon a time, there was an ordinary school in an ordinary town with a factory making cars. One day, a teacher showed her pupils an extraordinary car from the factory. And the children wrote some extraordinary stories.
Sparkle made me look down and the keys were standing on the floor. I picked up the keys and opened the door and peered in. The car was smiling, waiting for me to drive it. The car was black and the seats were low. Suddenly the car door shut tight, and at that moment the engine magically started running.
Over the last 7 years, Leighton Primary School in Crewe has made some remarkable improvements in literacy. Almost all Key Stage 2 pupils now leave the school with a level 4+ in English, but attainment figures used to be very different. Leighton is on the outskirts of Crewe, just 5 minutes down the road from Bentley Motors. With improved housing and development, the school catchment area has been changing, but there's still distinct disadvantage in parts, and around 18% of children receive free school meals. Yet staff at the local school have shown a determination to improve results for all pupils.
Embedding literacy practice within the school has been quite a challenge because originally when you looked at the school, say 10 years ago, we were only looking at the achievement of 26% level 4+. So we had quite a long way to go.
The journey towards raising literacy achievement has involved a commitment on the part of all staff to quality first teaching. A shared vision and consistency of message are reaping rewards. The story begins with teachers and learners themselves. Today, a representative from Bentley Motors has been invited to talk to Year 3 pupils about car design.
Got the 4-door version.
Teaching staff want to root the children's appreciation of literacy in the reality of their own world.
Have you got any family that work at Bentley? Yes?
My granddad used to work there.
Okay, was that quite a long time ago?
A lot of the children's parents and grandparents, uncles and so forth work in the factory, and so it's something that they're very aware of. And today they've learnt a lot of the language about the workplace.
I've just got a picture here of the Continental GTC, the convertible that I've shown you. That was his original drawing of how he thought that car would look. So there's another picture of his car. So you see, he knew exactly how he wanted it to look, so he then had to make it into clay so he could actually get the feel and the look of the car right.
We then decided to use this inspiration to feed into our literacy. During the summer term, we do adventure stories, and so it fed in really nicely. What we're going to do is we're going to write a story now. We're going to make up, it's going to be a piece of fiction writing, so it's not real, so you can have any car that you want. And what we're going to first of all do is going to set the scene in our story. So you're going to have to tell me where it's happening and why you're there. Okay, Kimberly, have you got an idea?
Travel back in time 40 years ago when the World Cup got stolen.
Brilliant idea. I want you to kind of think about seeing a car for the first time. And when you see it, describe to me very carefully what it looks like. So you've got to get the reader's interest. Off you go.
Karen has given Year 3 specific lesson objectives to include language features such as simile and personification.
I sat on a seat, I turned on the engine and it smelled like smoky bacon. And it rattled like an earthquake. The car moved in the air with the massive blue wings moving it side to side. Suddenly the car door shut tight, and at that moment the engine magically started running. It sounded like an elephant moaning. They're telling me something that's like not non-fiction, and I'm writing something that is fiction, and then I'm making it up into a story.
A balanced approach results in all-round improvement.
If you actually give children the techniques in writing, if they're aware of what techniques they need to use when they're actually writing, all writing becomes easier. I think if you're a good fictional writer, you'll become a good non-fictional writer. If you're a good reader, you will become a good writer.
An elephant, when he moans, is quite loud, so I thought the engine would be loud, so I decided to use it like an elephant. It's easy because you just have to use your imagination.
The school's emphasis on progress and achievement in every single year of a child's life means that every member of the school community shares an awareness of direction and targets. As a class teacher to Year 3, Karen has to ensure that the transition from Key Stage 1 into Key Stage 2 is smooth and meaningful.
From Year 2 to Year 3, you're really looking back at the Year 2 objectives all the time to find out what the children have done, what they're confident in doing. You're then looking forward to the Year 3 objectives and seeing how you can build through them to get the best out of the children. The children in the class are all different abilities, so we're always looking to their next goal, their next target. And sometimes that means we're looking at the Year 4 objectives, sometimes the Year 5 objectives. It all depends where the children are and what they need to be challenged. And the children really like to be challenged, and there's nothing better when they go back and they read their work and they're really happy with what they've written.
As part of the school's drive for consistent achievement and improvement, the Literacy Coordinator, a Year 6 teacher, and the Assessment Coordinator, a Year 1 teacher, organise a moderation exercise.
Moderation exercise that we do is an annual exercise, and it's something that Joe and I run together.
Which includes?
We include all staff in it.
Key Stage 1 and 2.
Yeah, and it's basically to ensure continuity in levelling across all year groups.
Teachers and teaching assistants are expected to know exactly where children are up to in their learning and where they need to go next. For this, everybody needs to understand levelling. So Joe has planted some red herrings amongst these samples of levelled work. Staff have to spot these discrepancies.
Does it create any suspense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a nice ending.
So it flows quite well, doesn't just stop either, which is good.
Good use of paragraphs. Yeah, I find it really interesting looking at this work actually to see what they're going to be heading for, the kind of work that they're going to be doing in Year 3, and comparing my Level 3 Cs with their Level 3 Cs.
The Year 2 and Year 3 teachers work closely together. They look at objectives from the Year 2, the sort of transition, the difference between the objectives in Year 2 and Year 3, and they also start them in the same books that they write in their literacy lessons in Year 3. So the presentation, they work very strongly on the presentation towards the end of Year 2, so that it's not a big jump for the children when they get into Year 3.
And it's not just the staff who are mindful of targets. Every Key Stage 2 pupil is set goals relating to improvements in reading or writing. But crucially, they understand and know how to use these targets.
Okay, speech marks. I've got speech in that paragraph in that paragraph. Dash. Dash is there. Well, our targets are in the front of our books, and we either put smiley faces on them or like little ticks to show whether we've improved them.
Well, on the sheets it tells us what you need to put in a Level 5 piece of writing, like a wide range of vocabulary and punctuation, so you know what to put in to get the Level 5.
Well, today we're going to do a follow-up lesson to all the work that you've been doing on the coast.
Outside literacy hour, however, there's no letter. Literacy is the foundation to learning across the curriculum at Leighton.
Wow, that's great. Let's have Ryan.
It's where a piece of land meets the sea.
This is a Year 5 geography lesson on coasts. Class teacher Wendy Hardman ensures that the lesson is underpinned by core objectives for speaking, listening, reading and writing.
Your first task is going to be to read this comment and to discuss in your group who you think this person is. Remembering this person is somebody who uses the coastline.
We like to go dancing or bowling in the evenings.
Do you think it's holidaymakers or residents? Well, it can be both, because you can have a mixture.
Speaking and listening through debate, through discussion, through philosophical thinking enables the children to develop cognitively. Now, it supports history, it supports geography, it supports design technology, both in terms of being able to be independent researchers, but also then, as far as outcomes are concerned, when there's a written report or some other non-narrative piece of work the children need to do.
What do you think we should put? We've already got car park near the seaside, clean beach and activities throughout the day.
I think we should relax on one.
Yeah, like some...
relax, like sunbathing.
Like a quiet beach.
Yeah.
I think it's been my experience in the past that children do the best literacy work when they are really interested and excited, and also when they've had the chance to do lots of research and had the time to find out the facts for themselves, which they can then use in their writing.
Having discussed coastal issues from different perspectives, Year 5 is now considering a proposed development in the coastal town of Llandudno.
So, Ty, what sort of views do the day trippers have about this development?
Well, a bad thing about it is if it's quite big, if it's going to be quite big, well, it looks like it on the pictures. It could knock down quite a few houses at the... and it could wreck the wildlife habitats.
I find this particular class I'm teaching at the moment are really excited by language. And the best thing is when you teach them geographical language, and they'll take every opportunity to bring it into their normal conversation.
As we move into transition beyond Year 6 into Key Stage 3, the children are going to be faced with having to cope with significant amounts of non-fiction work, and particularly non-fiction writing, which is going to be the key really to how they are assessed as far as their knowledge and learning is concerned.
There are other consequences. We would miss the lovely sight of beaches, and it would be awful.
As a
to miss
follow-up
that
to their
view.
reading, research
It
and
will
discussions on the
attract
coast,
people
Wendy
to
asked the
go-
children to write a
and
persuasive
shop there,
piece outlining
and-
arguments for or against the proposed coastal development.
And it was like you could write forever. It was like you could write a whole booklet of information, but you had to shorten it down into some paragraphs to make it into persuasive writing. I believe it is a sensible, appropriate idea. I think it is a good idea because all retired people can all go to the new development and have help with their shopping and transport.
Residents will recommend this development because instead of sitting in all night watching TV, the whole family can go out. This will benefit the builders because they will have more things to build. They will get more money, they will love it.
Sustained progress means challenge for children of every age and every ability.
It's been hard in Year 5 because we've had more work and more hard work to do. And I think it'll be good when we go into Year 6 because our teachers prepared us for it.
At Leighton, teachers' enterprising and imaginative approaches are clearly motivating children to achieve their targets. And they're looking forward to continuing their journey.
There is much more of a flexibility within the literacy framework that's emerging that, in a sense, we will be able to incorporate already into the existing programmes in school. And I feel that there's an opportunity there for teachers to ensure that you have good quality literacy teaching, but within the context of more freedom and choice and creativity for schools.